And I was glad that you brought up Great Lakes Entrepreneurs Quest, GLEQ. Prior to GLEQ, I was president of the Ann Arbor IT Zone. And I think that's a perfect segue into bringing David Bloom into the conversation from PointeAngels, because I met David way back at the Ann Arbor IT Zone days, and he is an amazing connector, and it's really exciting to see him now at the helm of PointeAngels.
Oh, now you've dated us, Diane.
We'll bring in David, and we'll bring in Marlo right after him. So go ahead, David. A nice segue there.
Oh, nice segue, Diana. But you've dated us. You know, that goes back to 2001. And I have to say, to your point, Mike, about the development of the ecosystem since then, I think back then, Diane, we were the ecosystem. There wasn't an ecosystem. Folks would come in off the street and say, okay, now what? And now the level of literacy among the entrepreneurial and innovation class, and the level of engagement from the investor class has just gone up by orders of magnitude.
Let's talk about PointeAngels again.
Okay.
Actually, I was talking to Diane, several times last week, and when she brought your name up, I didn't realize you were heading up an angel group. So talk a little bit about that. It caught me by surprise.
Well, I didn't send out a press release, Mike. My apologies. I've been in PointeAngels almost since the beginning. It's the youngest group in the state, 4 years old, though Marlo might have me beat on that front with Commune Angels. PointeAngels got together. It was I'll say it's an angel investing community that goes back several hundred years to folks in the trapping and the timber industries swapping deals, and then the French getting chased out of Detroit, and Michigan becoming a state. So there have been angels, disorganized angels in Gross Pointe for quite a while. And these are deals that would happen on a golf course, at a yacht club, at a church meeting, where somebody with a family office, somebody with some family money would say, okay, I'm in this company for 50. What are you going to do? Okay, well, I'm in for 52. And that led to organizing an angel group with a couple of family offices 4 years ago, and finding all of these angel investors coming out of the woodwork and saying, well, yeah, thanks. We would love to see some deal flow here. We would love to organize, because angels are really herd animals, not just for the safety and numbers aspect, but the idea that you might lead on one deal and follow on the next deal. You might dig in because you have some subject matter expertise, and you might just sit on the sidelines for the next couple of deals because you don't have any dry powder. So that difference that Diane was pointing out between the folks who are betting other people's money and the folks that are betting their own money kind of changes the tempo, and it changes the tenor. I should point out, PointeAngels does not make investment recommendations. So we're bringing really high value opportunities in front of investors and letting them make their own decisions. That's the other major distinction between the funds and the angels. And we do tend to, as you pointed out, Mike, to invest a little earlier. We kind of aim for that valley of death between the friends and family money that got a venture started and the kind of VC money that's going to fuel the high growth, the A round growth. And we think we can add a lot of value there, not just with capital, but with angel added value, with making connections to channel partners, to other investors, to talent, to suppliers. The angel added value in terms of mentorship and in terms of been there, done that. Because, you know, Mike, I come out like Diane as being a serial entrepreneur, and being on the other side of that, it's just so gratifying, both from the investor and from the entrepreneur standpoint, to have that kind of connectivity and support in addition to the capital, because really you can get the capital from anywhere. The real value is in the angel.
Absolutely. But I mean, what do you guys do as the newbies on the block? What are you looking for? What kind of deals do you really want to specialize in?
We're kind of aggressively agnostic, Mike. trying not to be the niche investor in any one niche, but rather take advantage of the great diversity that's within our angel group of 90 angel investors, some of which are coming from professions, doctor, lawyer, engineer, many of them from the auto industry or from real estate. And what's so fascinating to me, just as a rank and file member, was putting a range of deals in front of a range of people and seeing what sticks. And if you had asked me earlier this year if our biggest investment would have been in a preclinical chemotherapy agent, I would have said you're nuts. But that's what 2023 has done for us. We've been placing bets where I would never have expected, and that just shows that there are no experts in this field. We try not to be the smartest guys in the room, but to learn from those innovators who come up in front of us and say, hey, I've got a concept for how to do a quick serve restaurant that's never been done before. Talk about a crowded space with lots of tombstones, yet they got investment from our group.
Yeah, in my youth, I ran a restaurant and invested in it, so we won't go into that.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that, Mike.
Yes. Oh, God. Quickest way to lose money. So
tell you
there's been other investments I've made that also lost money, but hey, you live and you learn, right? So,
indeed.
All right. Diane, do you have any questions?
Yeah, David, what trends are you seeing this year ever since the Silicon Valley Bank failure and other things? It just seems like the mood has shifted. What are you seeing with your group?
Well, I'll tell you, the VCs, present company excluded, seem to have left the playing field. And when they did, they left a lot of great deals on the table. And what Savvy Angels have done is they've come in and they've looked at a VC scale or a VC class deal, and they've downsized it to make it angel friendly. Because we kind of got this embarrassment of riches, this terrific deal flow. It hasn't rather made us more selective, it's actually made us more ambitious. Our deal flow is up this year from previous years because the level of engagement has matched the level of availability. It's one of those supply-demand things. So we're grateful to Silicon Valley Bank and to the West Coast and East Coast VCs for basically giving us all of this wealth of great deal opportunities, and looking at the deal flow that we're starting to tee up for our fall angel meetings. Boy, our screeners are going to have a terrible time of it. Typically, we'll look at anywhere from 8 to 12 deals and narrow it down to 2 per month, and we're in the situation where you could basically go blindfolded and play pin the tail on the donkey and get 2 great deals that way. And that has not been my experience. Usually there's a washout in screening between the deals that belong and the ones that don't. And just the quality of the deal flow, the engagement of the investors. I hope that answered your question, Diane, because it's a lot of fun.
That's great. And are you staying focused on Michigan-based companies, or are you looking everywhere?
We look everywhere, but we've got a kind of a filter that comes from the intense social nature of PointeAngels. We really appreciate the investor in the room, the investor and the entrepreneur together in the room. So we've had folks come in from Chicago, from Indiana. We had one come in from Boston last year. To anybody who wants to join us here in Detroit, we'll put you in the room with a bunch of lively investors, and we'll have a great matchmaking, exploring opportunities session. But to that innovator who's out of state and wants to stay out of state, we might do a preview with them where we'll do a little 5-minute, which can be canned or it can be live, but it also can be remote. But if you're going to do one of our showcase presentations, we really want you to be here. And that means that the Michigan innovators have the advantage.
So are your meetings all in person, or you have a Zoom option as well?
There's an option to watch, but not to participate. I think you've experienced this in some of your Woodward and Grand Angel meetings where the hybrid experience gets to be strained. The folks in the room and the folks who are not in the room find it difficult to interact, and the attention of the presenter is very difficult to manage. So we made the strategic decision when we started resuming our in-person meetings after COVID to do the live stream as a podcast, like what we're doing right now. And we have those engaged investors who watch only, and then we'll do a follow-up to one of the leadership or to the company directly. We've got a bunch of folks who just like to watch. But if you're in the room, you're getting that Q&A experience that you wouldn't get remotely, and you're getting that before and after networking experience where you actually get to look into the eyes of the innovator and ask them a hard question and watch those pupils dilate.
Our data proves out exactly what you're saying. We find that we get more investment, a higher dollar amount, more frequent investment if the investors are in person, meeting the entrepreneurs in person. So,
well, and part of that
I also encourage in-person participation, especially for the entrepreneurs. That sometimes they feel like they'd want to just present on Zoom, and I'm like, you can do it, but what we see is that personal relationship, just meeting someone in person, talking to them, just builds the relationship better.
And I credit to you, Diane, for helping me to reach some of those realizations early, and not to step into that trap. Not that PointeAngels would be amenable. We're, like I said, it's just an intensely social group.
Well, I also find, again, before the COVID situation, I sat in as an observer on a lot of pitches and listened to the feedback. A lot of these entrepreneurs think they're ready for prime time, but then when they get under the hot spotlight of people that really know what they're talking about and punch all sorts of holes in their pitch, it's interesting. I mean, I think it's very helpful, obviously, because then they can fix those holes and come back and try it again, kind of thing. But
well, Mike, let's immediately demythologize. Shark Tank is a reality show. It's not what we actually do.
Right.
What we actually do is build sustainable innovation ecosystem, and you do that with people in the room.
Right.
So everything that you said, minus the the sharky aspect.
Yeah, I don't even watch that show very much because TV shows, reality TV. So cool. What else do you want to say about your group, David?
Well, only that what's so gratifying about having a group of engaged angels is that it raises the level of literacy and of engagement across the ecosystem. Having Diane and Jody and Marlo and these great angel groups that we can swap deals with, and being able to, like I was talking with an entrepreneur earlier today who didn't know about some of the resources on the west side of the state, and being able to do that angel added value, regardless of whether they end up in front of our group or not. I mean, Diane, you know this, we're kind of wired for that anyway. So finding a niche, finding a way of serving, finding a way of scratching that itch and giving to a greater community of innovators and of investors that value. That's the best part of what we do here. And I think I speak for all the PointeAngels. We're kind of innovation and growth jockeys anyway. So having these infrastructures, including, by the way, Mike, your media and your podcast, that's part of it, just helps us do what we do.